I've never liked Singapore. I've never liked the way they drove. I've never liked the way they spoke. I just don't like them in general. Recently, I was given a task where I had to compare teacher professional development between Singapore and our country, Malaysia. Naturally, I sought ways to prove that we were better. I looked far and wide for answers. I posted on forums. I read hundreds of journals. I even resorted to using Facebook to look for any sign of Malaysia's superiority.
Bila masuk ni? Masuk! Yes!
As the days went on, my goal seemed getting more and more distant. I was getting restless. Every morning, I had to wake up with a feeling of dread, scared of not getting the answers I wanted. Countless hours of searching and searching, my efforts did not bear fruit. Maybe I just need to accept the truth. Maybe I just need to accept the fact that our smaller cousin is just better than us at certain things. Hello and welcome to our video presentation. The topic we will be covering is teacher professional development in Malaysia and also in Singapore. Firstly, I'll be introducing myself, Hari Special, and also my group mates, Ria Rosman, Wang Chunlin, and also Wang Tiantong. So let's get on with the video. This is a research conducted for our philosophy in education class. The way we got this topic started after we gathered our individual research topics for our previous article review work and found a main common theme: Malaysia's teacher professional development. We found generally that the teacher professional development here has several problems and some suggested solutions that have yet to be taken place. Therefore, we decided to gather the problems and compare them against a country with stellar teacher professional development and education system, our neighbor Singapore, to see if those problems are really what is making our teacher professional development and education decline. We selected this topic due to the knowledge that Singapore is our neighbor yet has such a high reputation in their education when compared to us. For the Program for International Student Assessment, also known as PISA, a worldwide study involving 70 countries and more, they are at second place in all aspects currently, while Malaysia is ranked 56 for reading, 48 for science, and 47 for mathematics. Therefore, we wanted to see if what Malaysia is lacking is something Singapore already has grips on, and whether the problems we are facing is something Singapore has faced before but already has under control.
We looked through many resources and found that Malaysia has actually fallen in terms of education throughout the years. We wanted to understand what could be so wrong. Therefore, since neighboring country Singapore also has a society similar to Malaysia and are doing very well, we decided to probe their education system and directly compare it against ours. This way, understanding the problem and solving it would be more convenient than comparing Malaysia to the likes of Japan or Korea, who have completely different syllabuses and societies. Malaysia and Singapore share a lot of customs and races since we were once part of Malaysia. Despite that, after only a mere 54 years, Singapore has soared past us so drastically. The only way to understand the problem was through conducting researches, looking into their system, and personally asking Singaporean educators on what is so different between the two countries. We conducted surveys via Google Document and sent them to Singaporean teachers and educators. Of course, we're not going to include names and information because we have agreed to keep their identities undisclosed in return for joining our survey. We also did our own research amongst the Malaysian teachers and read through many reliable information from article journals and view resources.
Manually, we got the data by collecting responses from the Google Forms service and also by referring to various article journals from authorized sources. Some other pieces of data were also provided by videos and websites that are validated, such as rankings from the PISA website. Our Malaysian education blueprint from the Ministry of Education website and Singapore's education syllabus from their website.
Based on our survey, we found that much changes have to be done to our country in order to achieve the level Singapore is at. For our first question, do you feel satisfied with your profession? 4 out of 5 of the respondents said yes, with only one saying no with the reason that they believe they needed to always be improving in this profession. For the second question, which is, do you feel that you were well prepared for your teaching career? 3 out of 5 of the respondents said yes, with the other 2 being unsure and saying no due to the fact that they believe this job is constantly evolving and that they always need it to be better, and that there is no such thing as well prepared because they have to keep improving. The third question is, do you think your well-being as a teacher is taken care of by the government? And all of the respondents said yes. The fourth question asks, is it true that parties like teacher educators and policymakers have a say in how the country develops the education system, or is it simply up to the government officials? And 3 out of 5 said yes, with the other 2 being unsure due to the lack of knowledge and being new to the teaching industry. The fifth question, does Singapore abide to one framework for a long term until they achieve what they need to, or do they change blueprints every few years without waiting for any fruition? 4 out of 5 said yes, Singapore abides to one system, with one stating that they are unsure due to being new in the industry once again. The sixth question is, do you feel like the methods and approaches used in Singaporean classrooms have entirely moved beyond deductive and teacher-centered teaching, or are they still mainly used in classes? 3 out of 5 said yes, they have moved beyond traditional approaches, but 2 were unsure and disagreed, saying only some areas were modernized but not all. The seventh question asks, do you feel like ICT is more developed and incorporated in Singaporean classrooms? If so, do you have any experience with using them in classes? To which 3 teachers answered yes, while 1 was unsure and 1 answered no. The last question was, how would you compare teaching development in Singapore against Malaysia? And 60% said Singapore was better, while the other 40% was unsure to make a comparison due to only having experience teaching in Singapore.
The findings helped answer some of our questions, though not directly. It helped us to understand what is lacking in Malaysian education context when compared to Singapore. The answers we received shines a light on multiple aspects where Malaysia can improve on to develop a better TPD. These are parts that mainly include being more centralized in terms of education, have more opinions and suggestions from people who are directly dealing with classes and students, and to incorporate more technology to aid development of the 21st century students. Everything highlighted in our findings of Singapore versus Malaysia may seem like small things, but they are things that prove to be very valuable in making a better education system.
For recommendations, we recommend that Malaysia learns from Singapore to further develop their education system. First of all, the teacher profession should be a highly regarded profession, just like in Singapore, so more teachers can teach with motivation and be satisfied with their jobs. Secondly, teacher training in Malaysia needs to develop and make new improvements so that teachers are more well prepared. In Singapore, the teacher training centers are all underneath one organization and one instruction. Unlike in Malaysia, where we have IPG centers, teacher training degrees, and private teacher preparation institutions, which all have different methods and syllabuses in teaching, which in turn provides a mixture of teachers that have different qualities. Next, the government should do more to strengthen the aid provided to ensure the well-being of teachers, rather than focusing solely on subsidizations. Moving on, we found that Singapore has never drastically changed their education framework. They follow one system and make gradual adjustments where necessary, but they never reintroduce something new nor diminish ideas that have taken place for merely a few years. Additionally, Singapore is also more inclusive, where teacher educators and policymakers have a say in the education system, and not just ministry officials, like we do here in Malaysia. This way, everybody's insight is taken into account, and the ones dealing with students first-handedly can be heard. Unlike here, where teachers simply follow new rules wherever the ministry makes them without having any say. Next, teaching methods and approaches should be changed in Malaysia from the old and traditional deductive ways. Singapore has moved slowly to leaving traditional teachings behind, and though not all schools are perfect just yet, they have made the move, and Malaysia should as well. The incorporation of ICT is also much more developed in Singapore, which shows that Malaysia has to catch up and pour more focus into developing instructional technology in Malaysian classrooms. Singapore puts their education funding second only to their defense, and Malaysia should take this and knowledge and do it as well, as education is important to ensure brighter futures and skillful citizens. With all of this, Malaysia's teacher professional development can certainly improve over the years, if changes are to be listened to and taken.